hiking on the trail. There's a mountain lion. Right there. I barely saw him. Oh, shit. No! You, dude!
I was in the process of dying. I felt myself dying at a point. After about 10 minutes in, he was smothering me and I was losing it. So yes, I did feel I was that close.
They fought for each other. They did everything that they could.
There's not much you can do once you decide you're prey.
No. No.
Hey. Hey. Oh.
Cougars are known to stalk their prey and strike at the perfect moment. And with the ability to pounce up to 40 feet horizontally, you're a walking, talking cat toy soon to be breakfast. With lethal claws and a bite force strong enough to crunch our bones, these muscular cats are natural-born hunters. And even though cougars often steer clear of humans, when they don't, things can become deadly. Why did two brothers hunt for antlers end in deadly tragedy? How did a runner kill a mountain lion with his bare hands? And how did this woman survive being dragged by her face? Cougars, also known as mountain lions, pumas, and panthers, are found across North, Central, and South America. As ambush predators, they roam in areas such as mountains and dense forests, where they can easily sneak up on prey. They tend to hunt large mammals such as deer, elk, and moose. And as you can see in this ring cam footage, they'll even go after people's pets in their backyards. There have been fewer than 30 fatal cougar attacks in North America since the 1800s. So statistically, your odds of being killed by one are incredibly low.
There's a goddamn cougar in the car!
Some areas require licenses to hunt cougars, while others have laws to protect them due to their dwindling population. However, as their population continues to grow in other regions, so have attacks on humans, especially in North America. And cyclist Keri Bergere has the scars to prove it.
I know for a fact I would be dead if they didn't come back in. I would just be gone.
On February 17th, 2024, 60-year-old Keri Bergere, a competitive cyclist, went on a ride with 4 friends through the Tokel Creek Trail in Washington State. About 18 miles into their ride, one of Keri's friends, Auna Tietz, spotted 2 cougars and alerted the others. One of the cats took off, while the other had its sights set on Keri. We spoke with Sergeant Carlo of the Washington Fish and Wildlife Police. He's dealt with many cougar situations in the past, including Keri Bergere's attack.
For some reason, something clicked, and just before leaping off the road, he made a right turn and jumped, and Chaser jumped right behind her on her back.
Within a blink of an eye, the cougar lunged toward Keri, knocked her to the ground, clamped down onto her face, and dragged her into a shallow ditch.
I think it was about 15 minutes. We have a timeline of everything, and it was clamped on my face and crushing my bones. I was trying to stick my fingers up its nose and gouge its eye out, trying to pry its mouth open while I was trying to protect my throat.
With a bite force of 750 psi, a cougar's jaws are capable of crunching bones. And that's exactly what it was doing to Keri's face. All she could taste was blood while she was being pressed into the dirt, making it even more difficult for her to breathe. Thankfully, her friends quickly sprang into action, but fending off the cougar was no easy task. While one called for emergency services, the other 3 started to attack the cougar.
I just raced over to Keri, and I wasn't even thinking of what I would do, I just did. And the first thing I did was try to choke the cougar.
Annie explained that choking the cougar did nothing, comparing its neck to a rock. At one point, she tried to pry its mouth open, but felt the animal start to shift its teeth, likely in an effort to bite her as well.
They came up with a plan. They started yanking at this cat's tail and feet and everything else, but it will not let go. They're hitting it. They picked up a rock about this size, about at least a foot wide, and they're beating this thing in the head, and it will not let go. They had the bike on top of the cat, and the cat still barely let go. And they were stabbing this thing with they had a multi-tool. They were stabbing this thing. They stabbed it several times, and they said, "I'm not sure if we actually did anything."
And then Auna just started saying, "Start screaming, grab a stick." So I looked to the side of myself and grabbed a stick and a rock. And Annie had already grabbed the front of the animal, and Auna had the legs of the animal pulled back. So I approached it as Eric was calling the first 911 call and just started beating it with the rock over and over and over.
After a harrowing 15 minutes of fighting, It started to get tired, and Keri saw her chance to escape.
There was a split second where she felt the cat slightly let go of its jaw, of her jaw. In my mind, I think the cat was repositioning itself. It was figuring that, hey, I'm not killing her by grabbing her. The cat was repositioning itself to go for the throat, and that would have killed her. But at the moment, the cat lost that grip for a split second. She was smart enough to kind of curl up and create some space between her and the cat.
That same time, one of the women had the brilliant idea to put the bike on the cougar. So as Keri's getting away, the bike is coming over onto the cougar.
And it's still alive under the bike.
Yeah.
Oh, totally, totally. And it took all four of us standing on the bike to keep it down.
These ladies did everything right. They stuck around, they stuck together, and they fought back, and that's how you survive.
After half an hour of trying to contain the beast, Officer Chris Mositer with the Fish and Wildlife Police arrived and shot the cougar. Keri was then rushed to the hospital, where she spent 5 days recovering from her injuries. The incident left her with permanent nerve damage. An autopsy revealed the cougar swallowed something that belonged to Keri.
He ate the earring right off my ear, and then this ear he mangled with his claw, but I've got both my earrings now, and that's my little souvenir. They wouldn't give me a tooth, so I have my earrings back.
On June 25th, 2024, Keri's 4 friends received the Carnegie Medal, which is awarded to civilians who risk death or serious injury to save others. It's considered one of the highest honors for civilian heroism across the United States and Canada. Cougar attacks on humans are rare, especially if you're in a group, but clearly they can still happen. If you ever find yourself being attacked by a cougar, aiming for its sensitive spots, like its eyes and snout, may save your life. And if possible, use any nearby objects as weapons. Of course, you'll want to do whatever you can to avoid an attack in the first place. Sadly, even when you do what you're supposed to do, there are no guarantees when it comes to wildlife.
In Keri's situation, she found a split second where the cat repositioned itself to basically go for the kill, and she never gave up. She told me that she was about to pass out due to the probably pressure in her throat and the loss of blood and fear. Many times she's about to pass out, and she kept fighting back. Just like any other survival situations, don't give up.
On March 23rd, 2024, brothers Taylen and Wyatt Brooks set off to collect deer antlers in the woods of Georgetown, California. The two were avid hunters, but this time, they weren't armed.
The actions they took were what we advised people to do in that type of a scenario, and it unfortunately wasn't enough.
Taylen and Wyatt parked Wyatt's car, and after walking a short while up the isolated dirt road, Taylen spotted something.
So as I'm looking to my left, I see something like out of the corner of my eye come up from the steep side up onto the road. And at first I just thought it was a dog.
With their knowledge of wildlife and the outdoors, the brothers did what they thought was their best option to avoid a confrontation.
So we both just start putting our arms up and yelling at it, but it doesn't care at all. It just looks calm, and it's just walking towards us slowly.
So stay your ground, make a lot of noise, don't act like a prey, pick up whatever you got. If you don't have any firearm, bear spray, nothing like that. Act as big as you can. Pick up a stick or a rock or something, throw rocks at it, yell at it, and slowly back away.
Usually acting big tends to scare off mountain lions, but this one wasn't backing down. In an effort to scare it, Wyatt decided to use his backpack as a weapon. He threw it right at the animal's face.
It didn't even really flinch. Like, it just closed that left eye, and then the backpack hit it in the left side of the face and then just skimmed across its body, but it didn't care. It just kept walking at us.
The brothers knew they had to get away, but running could lead to a chase. Instead, they started to walk backwards quickly in an attempt to distance themselves. Unfortunately, Wyatt tripped over a stick in the process, and the mountain lion saw an opportunity to attack.
And I just remembered the lion comes around my left side, and then that's when it bites me. So I gotta put my arms up, and then after it bites, I grab it and I flip it over and I get on top of it, and I have my arms on its neck, pushing it down.
The mountain lion then started scratching at Wyatt, forcing him to let go. This allowed it to get out from underneath him, but instead of running off, it began to attack his brother, Taylen, who was just a few feet away.
So then the lion ran at him, jumped up on his back legs, took him down, but it just went straight for his neck. So there wasn't much he could do.
You can't outrun him. You can't out wrestle him. Once they get you, there's no way. They're just nothing but pure claws and muscle. It's tough.
In an attempt to save his brother, Wyatt tried to pull the mountain lion off him. However, given the amount of blood Wyatt had already lost, he was feeling weak. And after a short struggle, he noticed his brother was no longer fighting back. His arms were lying by his side, limp. At this point, Wyatt figured his only option was to call 911. He beelined it to his car and grabbed his phone, frantically trying to type while blood dripped on the touchscreen.
And then I get onto the road, make my way down there, but by the time I drove down there, they were both gone.
With his brother and the mountain lion nowhere to be found, Wyatt was told to wait for emergency services. He was taken to the hospital where he underwent reconstructive surgery on his face and neck.
El Dorado has multiple deputies on scene. Medical is with the first patient, 18-year-old male, who last saw his brother, a 21-year-old male, pinned down by the mountain lions.
The deputies searched the area until they came across Taylen's body. Crouching nearby was the mountain lion responsible for the deadly attack. After confirming Taylen had passed, a trapper was called in and killed the animal just 300 feet from the scene. This marked the first deadly mountain lion attack in California since 2004. Even though the brothers followed all the recommended survival tips, every encounter is different.
Cats are cats. They're flighty. They're smart. They follow their instincts. They live a pretty violent life.
If you're hiking in mountain lion territory, don't use earbuds, and if you have pets, ensure they're leashed and nearby. Some mountain lions can mistake them for prey, especially if they're roaming freely. Carrying a weapon can increase your survival odds, but when you're unarmed, sometimes all you have are your two hands. And taking down a mountain lion with your bare hands may seem like an impossible task, but our next victim did just that. Now before we dig our teeth into that, make sure to like and subscribe for more unbelievable survival stories.
And I started shouting, and unfortunately the shouts didn't deter it, so it just kind of kept running and lunged at me.
On February 4th, 2019, 31-year-old Travis Kauffman was running on a trail through the mountains of Fort Collins, Colorado, training for his first race, the Dirty 30 50K. After reaching the top of the trail, he started making his way down the other side. And then, he heard something.
About a quarter mile into that run, I ended up hearing some pine needles rustle, break, and I turned around and just was pretty bummed out to see a mountain lion chasing after me.
Similar to the Brooks brothers, Travis knew to make a lot of noise and act big to deter the dangerous animal. Unfortunately, it was set on attacking.
It was going toward my face, so I threw up my hands to kind of block my face, at which point it grabbed onto my hand and wrist. From there, it started to claw at my face and neck.
But this was just the start of what would end up being a 10-minute fight with a bloodthirsty mountain lion.
Got a claw on my lip, and I tried to throw it off me at that point, and then we took a little tumble down the south side of the trail.
After wrestling the mountain lion, Travis was able to climb on top of it and pin its back legs down. With his right hand still stuck in the cat's jaws, he used his free hand to feel around for anything nearby to use as a weapon. His attempts to stab the mountain lion in the neck with sticks proved useless. Next, he tried using a rock.
I tried to give it a few bashes in the back of the head, but fortunately I just kind of had a tough time swinging it with my arm still locked into the cat's jaws.
And his next move is what ended up putting an end to this horrifying ordeal.
I stepped on its neck with my right foot. I'd say another couple minutes later it finally stopped moving, and then jaws opened and I was able to kind of scramble back up the hill and get the heck out of Dodge.
With deep cuts on his face and puncture wounds on his hand and wrist, Travis had to run 3 miles after the attack. Thankfully, he was accompanied by another runner who found him on the trail, while another park visitor drove him to the hospital.
And one of my big fears throughout the whole thing was another cat. It was a younger cat, and I could tell that it wasn't fully grown, and I was just very concerned that Mom was gonna come out of nowhere, and at that point, that fight would be over pretty quickly.
When all was said and done, Travis needed 28 stitches and suffered from temporary nerve damage, which made it hard for him to grip things. Thankfully, within a few months after the attack, his hand fully healed. Despite his traumatic experience, Travis still completed the Dirty 30 50K race he was training for. In fact, he made it in the top 100. Talk about resilience. Now, as I mentioned before, acting big and screaming is a good way to make you appear more threatening to a cougar. But if it does come after you, protecting your head and neck is the most important thing. Then, fight with everything and anything you can. And despite these terrifying stories, Cougar attacks on humans are incredibly rare. Just remember, it's always best to err on the side of caution.
Just people need to be aware that when you're out there, we're not the apex predator out there. We are prey. Just don't act like one. Be aware. Just be prepared for anything when you go out there. Be aware, be prepared, and have a good backup plan.
Know when you're heading into cougar territory and plan accordingly. Try to avoid going alone, and if possible, bring something to defend yourself, like bear spray. It could be the difference between life and death. We look at another insane cougar attack alongside terrifying tiger and leopard stories in our video, The Deadliest Wild Cat Attacks. And let me tell you, this one's a doozy. We'll see you next time on How to Survive.